Hi everyone and welcome back to the Crafty Yellow Camper, and today I've got a card for you using one of the new items from the mini seasonal catalogue. This is the Reindeer Fun set. There is the stamp set, there are papers, there are dies. Today we're just using the papers just to show you how it is to make a quick and easy card. So the papers are gorgeous, and yeah, just add in a few little bits and pieces. So this is the card we're going to make. It's a book fold card. So it's actually sealed here, and this front piece opens up so that we can see inside. I have used a couple of retired products on this, but I'll talk you through those as we go. Okay, so I'm going to put this to one side and I'll show you how it's made. Okay, so the first things first, I have got a real red card base. So this is half of an A4 sheet cut lengthways. So the width is 10.5 centimetres. If you're not in the UK and you don't have A4 cardstock, you can do the same technique using half of your letterhead, which I think it's called. Okay, so basically this is scored at 14.8 and it's 10.5 widthways. Now we just need to add another score in, so I'm going to have to bring back in my trimmer, and what we need to do is make that book fold section, this bit here, that folds up like that. Now the easiest way I've found to do that is when I scored my card, I obviously scored at 14.8 here, and this section is actually 4 centimetres wide. So what I'm going to do is move my card to 10.8, which takes 4 centimetres off, making sure to keep the cutting blade out of the way, and I'm just going to score. Okay, and I'm going to move that out of the way, my trimmer, and then this piece here just needs to be folded back like that, and then we are going to stick this down, but I'll show you when I do that. So I'll just talk you through the other pieces. So this is a piece of designer series paper. These are both out of the Reindeer Fun designer series paper. They're not glittered or gilded in any way. They're just the normal. And this one's got these cute little holly leaves and berries on the back. I can't remember what this one. Oh, this one had presents on the back, I think. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick on this section here, which is cut at 10 by 10. And then I've got a little piece here, which is 10 by 3.5. And that piece is going to go there. Now, what you can do, and what I am going to do in this case, on this card, I matched the two pieces of paper up. On this one, I'm going to turn it the other way. So you've got that pretty holly paper. So it's up to you what you do. The only thing is, if you want to have it this way and you want your pattern to match like mine does on this card, you need to cut the 3.5 centimetre section from the left hand side of your card and then cut the other section. Hope that makes sense, otherwise it won't line up. So for instance, this doesn't line up because it probably came off another piece of cardstock, so I'm going to turn that over. Okay, so let's stick those on. So I'm using good old Tombow. Gives me a little bit of room for manoeuvring. I keep mine stored upside down in one of these little individual jam portion pots. If you're watching from somewhere that isn't the UK, I don't know whether you have afternoon teas, and if so, do you get little individual jam in glass jars, or do you get it in little plastic portions? In England, we have the National Trust, and when you have an afternoon tea in the National Trust, you always get your jam in a little glass jar. And I always save mine. If I go out for afternoon tea with any friends and they don't want theirs, then I usually steal those as well. They are brilliant for keeping pins in, small buttons. As I said, I use mine for standing my Tombow upside down, so it's always ready to go on the fine point. This one is full of dimensional backs. and I just dump them in there when I take them off, which I just find keeps my desk a bit tidier. I mean, they do still, you know, end up around the house, but yeah, not quite as much. Right, okay, so I've got another piece of 10 by 10. This is basic white, and this is going to fit inside like that, so that when we've stuck that down, we've got our insert with somewhere to write. But I do want to stamp on that first. So always do your stamping before you stick your cardstock in, because if you mess it up, you know, paper has two sides. It's very forgiving in that way. So we're using the sentiment from Reindeer Fun, may all your days be full of cheer. And I'm just going to ink that up and eyeball that in the middle. Okay, seems reasonably straight, so I'm happy with that. I'll go with that. Just get that ink pad out of the way. Okay, and then again, I'm using Tombow. Now I haven't actually, the eagle-eyed of you might notice I haven't actually stuck that 4 centimetre piece together yet, and I'll show you why in a second. But if you're worried about lining this up, if you line it up from the right hand side, there you go, that fits in there fine. Right, so the reason I haven't stuck this piece down yet is because we're going to add some ribbon. Now this is the first of my retired products, and I think this real red ribbon, ruffled ribbon, was probably in last year's catalogue, but I made myself a promise this year that I would try and use up all the little pieces, bits and pieces and rolls of ribbon that I hadn't used up properly last year. So I always keep a separate pair of scissors. These are my ribbon scissors. Everybody in my family knows not to touch them. Okay, and we're going to use glue dots. You could use tear and tape. I just can't lay my hands on mine at the moment. I think I've probably put it in a bag that I took out for crafting. So I'm just going to put a glue dot on each end. I don't find, I love my Tombow, but I don't find that Tombow sticks ribbon well. You need something a bit more heavy duty, so red liner tape, tear and tape, or glue dots. Okay, so we're going to stick this on before we glue this down so we can hide the ends. So I'm going to put one end in and try and get it fairly central. Pop the other end in, and then we'll just give that a check that that's straight. Yeah, I'm happy with that. And then I'm probably tempting fate here, attempting to tie a bow whilst recording. But anyway, here goes. So we're going to do the bunny ears. So we want 2 loops. So I've made, hopefully you can see that, I've made 2 loops around my fingers, and then I'm just going to tie those in a knot. Okay, and then you can just fiddle about with it to get it the size that you want before you pull it tight. That's it, that's our bow. And then obviously always angle the ends. It looks nicer, but it also stops the ribbon from fraying. Okay, so just get rid of this ribbon off my desk. So that's retired product number 1. But I'm sure there are lots of other lovely ribbons. Well, I know there are lots of other lovely ribbons in the catalogue that you can use. The other top tip is if there isn't ribbon in the colour that you're actually looking for, you can always buy our plain ribbon, white ribbon, and colour it yourself with a blends pen. Okay, so that's our main part of our card finished. What we need to do now is stick this down. So I am going to put some Tombow on. I'm keeping the Tombow away from the ribbon, because all I find it does is sort of soak into the ribbon and it doesn't really stick it. But because I've got Tombow around the ribbon, that will be enough to hold it down. And I'm going to shut that and then fold this bit back so I can give it a good press along that crease and along that crease, and that will be enough to hold that shut. Okay, so I really liked the card, but I just felt it needed a little bit of bling. It's Christmas after all. Well, it's not yet, but it will be. So I've got these red basic rhinestone jewels. Again, these I think were probably last year or possibly even the year before, but I am determined to use up my stash. So we're going to turn these reindeers into Rudolphs by giving them a little red nose, just to add a little bit of bling. Now you don't have to do every one. I'm going to, because I can, but you don't have to. Just remember that you really want odd numbers. So actually there are 5 noses there, so that works really well. So that's those. And then I also found, when I was having a bit of a tidy up, these little adhesive back snowflakes, which I think were last year or possibly the year before. Now they're not really the right colour because they're pinky colours, but you know, they're sparkly, they're pretty. They're sort of iridescent actually. Depends what light you catch them in. They look a different colour. Some of them look a bit more peachy coloured. And again, we're going for odd numbers. So we've got 1, 2, and we'll have 1 over there. So that just gives that a little bit more something. Okay, a little bit of bling. Obviously, you don't have to do that if you're happy with the papers as they are, but I just felt they needed a little bit of bling. And as I said, I'm determined to use up my leftovers. Okay, so let me bring the other card back in. So these are our 2 cards. As I said, they open like that. Okay, there we go. Hope you like it, and I hope you give it a try. It's a really easy, simple fold, but it's just, you know, something a little bit different from a standard open the card. And I hope you'll agree that these papers are absolutely lovely. I'll be back soon with another card showing you what you can do with some of the dies that go with this stamp set. So that's it from me for now, and I'll see you all again soon. Thanks for watching, and happy stamping.